welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, a very big welcome. Now today's video I'm going to be doing a colouring chat and an update, and I've decided to work on this picture, what I started with this little shooting star in the Clara Markova book by I think it's Fairy Touch of Magic. Yeah, Fairy Touch of Magic. It's the new Clara Markova one. Now before I get into the video, you will notice I did a colouring chat in this book with an Halloween picture, and I'm just going to show you that picture finished. I have got the opposite page to do because it was a double spread, so it were a double page. Now the reason why I've left this one blank is because it's more of an Halloween picture, and I did get requested for a colour and chat to do this on video, which I am going to do. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get the full page done. Now for this particular video, because we're on 20th of November now, I'm wanting to start a Christmas picture, so I am going to be doing this in January, and I'm going to start on this Christmas picture. It's just what I'm in the mood to do, and I thought I would do it online. You know, on camera, sorry, as a colouring chat. Now in this video, before we get started, I am going to be updating why I haven't come on and filmed anything in the last, I think it's been over 2 weeks. You did end up seeing a review. If you've seen it, I've got a product review up on my channel, what I put up on yesterday, but apart from that I haven't had anything on. Now in this video I'm going to be mentioning mental health, and it might be mentioning anxiety, depression and eating disorders. So if you're not comfortable listening to that kind of talk, if there's anything that upsets you or triggers you, or you're very sensitive at the moment and you are having a very hard time, please do not watch this video if you are going to be affected, if it's just going to make you worse. I would try to focus on something a bit more positive. Normally I try to get all my videos up and colouring chats, I would like them to be a lot more positive. So this is a one-off. I am going to basically explain what's going off with me. This is inspired by watching a video by Colour with Claire, because recently I've been really struggling. I haven't been filming and I've had no motivation, and I've not been wanting to come on to do normal videos because my headspace has not been in the right place, and I've also not wanted to sit and make a really negative video. But after watching Colour with Claire and her opening up, it made me realise that there's more people that have got a lot of things in common than what we think, and they're going through the same time, the same right now. We are in difficult times, and it is nice to come and watch videos that are really positive, but I think we are all going through things behind closed doors, and I do think that opening up and making, mental health awareness rather than hiding it away is a really good idea, because I do know myself suffering that we don't like to talk about it because people who don't suffer from it don't understand and they can perceive it in the wrong way. So I think it's really important. So before I go any further, if you do not want to listen to this kind of talk, please click off now and check my future upcoming colouring chats, because they definitely will be more positive. Right, so I'm just going to get into it. So what I'm going to do is, I was going to do a tag, and it was going to be a why do I colour tag, mental health awareness, and I've decided against it because I don't think a lot of people are going to want to come on YouTube and share their story. So I fought against it, but I am going to do this colouring chat, and I'm just going to explain what's been going on with me and why I've not uploaded in the last couple of weeks. So please bear with me. Now what I'm using is luminance. I have already started this shooting star. The reason for that is because I did film it, but the film went wrong, so now I'm having to start from here, which is a pain. But I've been using Luminance colours. If you want to know the colours that I've used so far, I've used Ochre Brown, Golden Bismuth Yellow, Lemon Yellow, Yellowed Ochre, Naples Ochre, and Primrose for my lightest colour. And now at the end I'm going in with some Sienna Brown just to deepen areas up, because I felt like it wanted a darker colour putting in. I haven't shown you my colours up on camera because you're not going to see the names. They're really difficult to see the names on these pencils. That's the only thing that's quite disappointing about them. For the price you'd think the names would be a lot clearer. So I'm just going to start filling in while I'm talking in the areas where I want it to be darker. Right, so where can I start? So lately I have not been, I've had no motivation to film out. I've been in a really negative headspace and I've just been really bad. I haven't been sleeping. There were like a couple of days where I've had about three days where I had no sleep at all. So you could imagine through the day, my motivation to do anything was very small. Now, my anxiety started off when I first noticed it. I must have been about 18 years old, and I was with an old boyfriend, and at the time the relationship I was in wasn't very good, but I'm not going to get into them details because it involves other people. But anyway, I was at a pub and I was having a drink, and then all of a sudden I had a panic attack. It was my first ever panic attack. I didn't know what were going off. I was really terrified. It just came out of the blue. 1 minute I was totally fine. The next minute I was panicking, thinking I was going to die. Sweaty palms, shaking, palpitations, and I ended up having to go home. And I went home and I continued to have panic attacks throughout that night. And from that day I was having about 4 to 5 panic attacks every day. There was really worse at night. I had so much anxiety on the night time. I wasn't sleeping. I was frightened. I started to get it fixated into my head that I was guaranteed to have a panic attack on a night time. I was really frightened. And then I was dreading the next day because I was thinking, oh, I'm just going to have another horrible day. Eventually I started taking antidepressants because I had to go to the doctors, and even waiting in the waiting room were really bad. I started thinking that maybe panic attacks were to do with places, so I thought that the only safe place that I had were in my bedroom watching telly. Even that wasn't a safe space really, but it was the only place that I thought that were away from people. I started to have a fixation, whereas the more people I was going to definitely have a panic attack. I did end up going shopping one day to a food store, so it was Morrison's. If you don't know what Morrison's is, it's just like a food shop, what we have here in the UK. And I had a major panic attack, and I had a shopping full of trolley, and I just left it in the middle of the aisle and ran out. And from that day forward I went less and less places, and I was lucky if I could go in my garden. Now this lasted for about 3 years. I was taking antidepressants, and it was only until that my relationship broke up. I went to live with my mum and dad, and my routine when I went back there started to be more normal. It was just an healthier situation for me to be in, and my mental health improved, and then the panic attacks went away, and I stopped taking antidepressants. Now at this time I was only 18 and I didn't understand anxiety at all. I didn't understand anything about, I wasn't self-aware. Now if you ask me now, I'm a lot more self-aware than what I was back then. So I didn't have a clue. I was really naive to what were happening to myself. And I didn't have any more in panic attacks, sorry. I didn't have any more panic attacks. Therefore, I thought my anxiety were gone. I didn't realise that you could still have anxiety but not have panic attacks, which is really stupid when I think looking back of it now. But yeah, I didn't realise that. So I've always been a worrier. So over the years, the panic attacks went, but I were always worrying about everything. I used to play stuff over in my mind like a record, and yeah, so that were carrying off where like in work, work, college, I was constantly worrying still, but I thought note of it because I wasn't having these panic attacks. Fast forward a good few years, I met my partner who I'm with now, and everything were great. We were I went more places with him. He were really supportive, and we were going to like cinemas, meals out, and I wasn't used to going to these places at all, because with me other partners I just didn't go anywhere. But yeah, we were going everywhere and everything, and then I eventually started working, and I started working in care. Now when I started to work in care, I noticed that my mood started to change. I was working really long hours. As you can imagine, if you've done care before, it is really stressful, and I was overworking myself. I was so exhausted, I was tired all the time. I was not having any time to do for myself, and I was coming back and I was getting overstressed. The littlest thing at work were really upsetting me. I felt like I couldn't carry on with my jobs. I ended up job hopping from one care place to the next, and so on. But I still didn't give up. I still carried on going to work and stuff, and still went in and out of jobs. Now, around that time I started, one day I decided I wanted to go on a diet, because I felt like I was getting a bit too, I put a bit of weight on, I wasn't feeling very healthy, so I wanted to go on a diet. And then I started to work out, so I started to cut my food out, all unhealthy food, and went on a diet, and it worked out well. I was exercising, my health improved. But then I started obsessing over everything. I ended up getting that MyFitnessPal, and I started logging my calories, and the diet was successful at the time, but I was taking it too far. I just started obsessing over it. So all as I'd think about all day long were how many calories I could eat, how much I'd weigh, how many workouts I were going to do. But at the same time, I was feeling successful because I'd managed to lose weight. Now, eventually, it got to where I had a full-blown eating disorder, and I lost too much weight, but my mind and my moods changed dramatically from then on. It affected me mentally more than anything else. I was in my own little world. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I was in my own little world, and the only thing that my mind constantly played around in my head were calories, how much fat, how much sugar, and how much salt were in stuff, how many workouts I could do, how many calories I could burn off. And this went off for about 3 years, me in total unawareness of my moods. Luckily, I had a supportive partner, because he put up with it all. He was like trying to tell me there's something not right, and it was on it until one day, after Christmas I think it was, I let myself eat a biscuit, which like I would never eat. That was just totally off of the, my plan what I would eat, and I ended up binging on these biscuits. And from that day I started binging, and then I was restricting, and I knew there was something wrong. And I ended up going to the doctors, and the doctor weighed me. So it went from there, where the doctor weighed me, and then he sent someone out for me to the next day. I had to see 2 people. They came to my house for a talk. They were just asking me loads of questions. And then from there, they took my blood pressure, which the you know, the armband, when they take your blood pressure, it was too big for my arm, and then I had to go to the doctors and I had to have all these art tests and blood tests. Luckily they all came fine, apart from low vitamin D, and obviously my BMI was underweight. So the mental impact that this had on me was horrendous, and I used to go in, the binging lasted about another year after that, another year to 2 years, and I had to gain weight, and it was horrendous for my mental health, because I would sit and cry for about 3 days, and I would go in horrible moods, like depressive moods, and then I'd wake up and then I'd be okay. So my moods would change. From minute they were depressive, the next they were a bit more optimistic, and then after about 2 years I eventually, you know, improved. My eating's normal now, I'll just eat whatever I want. Basically I don't diet no more. Sometimes I think that I need to cut things out, but I never restrict or anything. Now this is to do with my anxiety, it is related, and I will get to that in a minute. But yeah, so I improved. My partner was great, he helped me out loads and loads. So I eventually just went back to work. Same thing happened. I was going to work, any little bit of stress, I was overwhelmed. I felt it was too much for me. I was feeling worthless. I thought I was feeling not good enough in my job. I was coming home exhausted. I wasn't sleeping. I used to obsess over everything, like it went from one thing to next. So something simple like ordering a package, I would, you know, play it over in my head, not because I was impatient for the package to arrive, because I kept thinking there was something going to go wrong, and it's the stress of it. So really simple things, and then the spiral pattern went again. So I'd rather be over worrying or I'd be depressive. It's really hard to explain. So some days I'd be over worrying. On them days I'd feel anxiety, where I'd have like a tense reaction throughout all my body, and then I'd be laid in bed wired wide awake, and my mind's, you know, constantly racing. And then there'd be other days where I'm on settee and I can't move, I feel overwhelmed, I feel it's difficult to talk, and I just feel like really self-negative, and that's what's been happening for the last 2 weeks as well. So I am getting there, I promise. Right, so fast forward a couple of years to 2 years ago is when I started being more self-aware with what were happening. Me and my partner decided to go swimming. It were a really hot year, and this is the year I discovered colouring, adult colouring shall I say, and we decided to go to Dome. It's like a place where I live. It's a few towns away, and it's got a swimming centre there, and we decided to go there. And we decided to go there because it were really hot, and I got in the car were absolutely boiling, and we went on motorway, which is I think used to call a freeway. And we got on motorway, we were halfway down motorway, no escape whatsoever. I all of a sudden felt an extreme dread, like out of nowhere. 1 minute I was talking to my partner, the next minute I felt like something really extremely bad were about to happen, like really bad, like really serious. I don't know why, it was just like an overwhelming sense of dread. And then all of a sudden I felt trapped, because I knew we were on motorway and I knew I couldn't get out of this car, and then it just went from 0 to 10, and all of a sudden I was panicking. I started shaking really bad. I was tensing my hands up, regularly. I had the sweaty palms, my heartbeat were racing, and I thought I was going to die in that car. I thought, oh my god, something's happening. I started crying. Like I was absolutely terrified. Rob didn't know what was going on. He was just he didn't have a clue. He's never seen it before in his life, so he didn't know what were up with me. He were really shocked. We ended up getting to the place we were going. I had to go for a walk and get some water. And I ended up having a drink, and I did try to go swimming. I got into the changing room and I had to walk out. I came home and I thought, I can't believe I've just had a panic attack. I've not had one since I was 18, 19, and the next 48 hours were horrendous. I was having really bad panic attacks, and in between I was that terrified and frightened. It were really bad. I didn't sleep for the next 2 days. I ended up going to an emergency mental health, which were out of my town. My mum and dad had to take me there because the local doctors what we have, I couldn't get in for an appointment. And when I got there, he said, you've got severe anxiety. He says, you're not going insane. Because I asked him if I said I felt like I was having a nervous breakdown, that I was going absolutely crazy. I thought that I was going to die. I thought something really bad was going to happen to me. Anyway, he put me on antidepressants and sent me home, and he gave me a number to ring to arrange this CBT therapy. So that's what I did. I went home on the antidepressants. I went upstairs into the bedroom, and that's where I stayed for 2 weeks. Apart from, obviously, I had to go pick up these antidepressants, and I couldn't get off the bed for 2 weeks. I was really bad. My nerves were shot. I couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't eat. I managed, I think I were eating muller rices. I think I had a muller rice a day. I just couldn't eat. My partner were fetching me chicken sandwiches through the day from shop, and I couldn't eat it. I had a swallowing sensation where I thought I was going to choke on my food. Every time that I sat up or tried to stand on the floor, I felt really weak, which is probably to do with me not eating, and I felt like I was going to collapse, and it was horrendous. And this lasted for 2 weeks, and I lost about 1.5 stone in weight really fast at the time. Now that's the time when I started colouring. I got a Joanna Basford book, and I think it was The Enchanted Forest. So I did get that book, and I started colouring with Crayolas, and that's what took up most of my time while I were in that room. I couldn't do anything else. It helped me a lot because I wasn't watching telly. I wasn't on social media neither, and then I finally started to get up and come downstairs. I forced myself just to come downstairs, and I had to force myself to go to the shop and eat something. And I can remember my first trip to the shop, I felt like I was going to conk out because I'd not ate, and I felt really weak. But then I went to the CBT therapy, and she helped me to understand more about anxiety and how it works. And then the more I understood about it, the more I read up about it, and the more I was less frightened about it. And when I was less frightened about it, that's when I started improving. And I changed my diet at the time because it was in summer. I started forcing myself to get up and going for a walk, run, and I'd do this every morning, and I'd cut caffeine out, and my mental health improved massively. And then eventually I managed to control it where I wasn't frightened of having a panic attack. Therefore, if I felt anxious, I could calm myself back down without going into a panic attack. And yeah, so we're eating out healthier and going to the workouts, which helped a lot. And I got better, went back to work. Fast forward to this day, and then in March we had all this coronavirus that started off here in UK. Now when this coronavirus started off, I didn't do too bad in March. I think I handled it quite well. I still had the odd days where I had a few mood swings, whereas I felt like a bit depressed and stuff like that, but I used to be able to snap out of it a lot quicker than what I am doing at the this moment in time, because I used to force myself to do something. But with this second lockdown, what we're having here in UK, and because the weather is like it is winter here, it is dark. I've got no gym to go to because they are shut. And to be honest, before the gym shut, the coronavirus was still around, and I was frightened to go, and my anxiety were picking up, and my moods was getting worse, so I were having no sleep. So in the last 2 weeks I've had hardly any sleep, and I've been on settee, and I've had no motivation to do anything. My mindset's been in a negative space where I feel like I'm worthless, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I haven't got the energy to do anything anymore. I was even considering not continuing with my channel at the time. This is just something what goes through my head at the time, and I was really in a complete negative space. And then a couple of days, and then I'm back up and feeling more optimistic and more positive, and that's how it's been. And this has been happening on and off regularly since March, where I'm going in depressive moods and then a bit more of a positive mode, and that's just where I am at the minute. And I think mainly that is because I'm not exercising. I'm not getting out there. I am going for walks, but it doesn't seem to be the same. I'm not going out as much, and I haven't got that daylight what we've got in summer, so I think I'm suffering a bit more. But yeah, so sometimes I find it really difficult to set up my stuff and just do a simple thing for this video, like a video like this video I'm doing now. And that is basically my story so far. Now, I know that as soon as things pick up and as soon as I start exercising, I know I've got my own tools that I can do to get myself in a better headspace, and that's what I plan on doing. But I thought it was really important to just get this video out. So I haven't done much colouring in this video, but you are going to see a lot of upcoming videos where I'm doing a lot more colouring. But yeah, I just wanted to get this off my chest and explain what were happening with me. I have been asked to do a colour along for December, and it's going to be up on 18th of December, and it's a Scrooge picture, so it will be a Christmas picture. And I'm hoping that I can find the time to film this and have it up by 18th of December, as while I've got all this going off. But I'm a bit more in a positive mood, and hopefully everything will be a lot more better. Yeah, so I've got that out, and I hope everybody's enjoyed this kind of video. For those that don't enjoy this kind of video, I do apologise, but I do hope that you listened to the warning at the beginning of the video and clicked off. Mental health is really a difficult thing, and people suffer in all different kind of ways. But before I do get off from this video, if you are suffering from any kind of mental health, I will always post my email below, and anybody that needs to talk or vent is really welcome to message me. I'm always a message away, and I will definitely always respond. You're not alone. There is loads of people that you can talk to, so never think that you're in a place that you've got no way out, because even though I've been struggling, I do know that the situation will pass and that things will and do improve. So yeah, end it on more of a positive note. So for all of you that have been watching, thank you for watching this. It was just basically a update, and I will be back doing another colour and chat in this book, and it will be a lot more positive, and you will be seeing that soon. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all then.